Wagwan gamers, welcome to podcast interview number 2 of Someone Calls to Ask About Mushrooms. And here we have David. Hello, David.
Hello, guys. And not only mushrooms, I want to talk about just psychedelics in general, to be honest.
Yeah, my specialty is definitely in mushrooms, but basically, so to clarify, he's calling to ask because he is a new... Oh, I could have rhymed that as well, about mushrooms, because he is a new... I don't know, maybe not. That's not the best, but he's calling anyway because we were basically talking over Snapchat privately, and he was asking me questions about the psychedelics, and we were going back and forth for ages, and I was like, why don't you hop on the podcast? Because I'd done one before, and that was number 1 with my friend Dylan, and that was awesome. We were talking for like an hour, and he was just genuinely inquiring. Sorry?
Was he new to it as well?
No. So actually, to be fair, he had tripped a few times, but he was like much less with it, I think. So,
Oh, yeah.
because I feel like, you know, you've done them like 0 times. You're like 2 years older than me, right? And you haven't tried them, and then I'm like my age, and I've probably done them like 70 times or something.
70?
Yeah, definitely. I've been saying 70 for a while.
Fucking experience.
I've done like 7 grams more times than I remember, like definite. So, and I feel like I made videos like Mushroom Mastery, and that's why I feel like there's somewhat value in just having this, and that's why you people ask me, because I'm being on YouTube ranting about it for like over a year at least, and I've had a lot of experience, and I feel
What's
like
the highest dose you've taken?
it's only 7 grams, but I've done it repeatedly, and
Okay.
because you watched like my 7-gram extreme bad trip video, right? So like there's that, and then
that could scare away a lot of people, that video can.
well, that's the thing, it's like
Nah, that's only if they do 7 grams though.
well, it depends. Like I was warning people. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they was also inquiring.
What, same amount?
No, I think I was talking to you, because I was like, I don't want to scare you off, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why, because I was giving you the warnings, and you said there it could scare people off, but I was just like the warning, I don't mean to scare people away, but like there are warnings, like I feel like you have to kind of, because when I got into that place, partly why I feel responsible to warn people that the intensity of a large dose can potentially like literally scare the fuck out of you if you take a big enough and you're not ready. Like I was like 16, I was really frail and like young and ignorant. I'd only had like 2 trips, and it being positive, I thought I'll take 7 grams, and I'll link it in the description. It just fucking shut me up full blast. It was so powerful. I was not ready, and so I feel like I have to warn
your first
people.
Experience as well, because obviously that's relating to my first experience. Like, what did you like want to get out of mushrooms? Like, why did you take mushrooms?
Well, first of all, I'll answer, but like just to clarify, so you've never taken mushrooms, no?
Yeah, never.
Okay, and you haven't really touched with psychedelics at all, sorry?
Nope, no.
All right, fair enough. So, why did I pursue mushrooms in the first place?
Yeah. What was like was it like you wanted to see a health benefit from it? You wanted to see like different stuff from like reality? Like,
That's actually quite an interesting question, to be fair. So, like, to be honest, I feel like I had like an interest in it. Like, you know when you go into your past, you get past like 13 and before, and it starts being like hazy, somewhat like it's, you know how it like obviously
really
when you're bare
that,
young,
like
you
brain
can't.
fog.
Yeah, no, like I swear it's hard to remember like all of your childhood memories somewhat. Like like it becomes way distant.
Definitely.
Like I feel like I always like I don't remember when I found out about mushrooms. It was just like I always was like I knew about them, and I wanted to like. I'm sure like I learned about them at some, but I don't remember going like, oh, this is I just always like knew that it was like I must have heard it somewhere, but I didn't remember from, because I don't know. But for some reason, they always intrigued me,
Yeah.
and but at one point I found the main point. I'm sure you're familiar. I don't know, because I made a video that said Mr. Traumatic saved my life.
Yeah, I've seen it. I see Mr. Traumatic's comment on it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick because he shared it, and then now it's like my most viewed video. So there you
Yeah.
go. But when I discovered him, obviously, I was just normal. I was just going to school. Basically, the video explains it, and I've stumbled onto Traumatic just on a whim, and he started dropping bombs about all the mad stuff he talks about. He's a Welsh drum and bass MC, and he literally spits many facts and interesting views.
So would you say that because like of him, like what he was rapping about, did you think that like does he talk about mushrooms in his raps?
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
think it was an influence on you, like taking them as well?
Most likely, I feel like I think it definitely solidified it because there's like it's
Yeah.
not just Traumatic. Yeah, it's like so there was someone called CG Kid, and he was like a heroin addict or some shit. He's on YouTube. It's
Yeah, I
quite
know him.
interesting.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, you know him. He has a
Yeah.
video called "Why I Stopped Taking Psychedelics," and he acknowledges the pitfalls potentially and the cons for some people. And he said, what did he say? That psychedelics have like a cult-like following, and I can't help but like somewhat like when so it wasn't just Traumatic, but it's the way he raps about them, the way he talks about them, and then it's like there's a whole community that like, and I'm all for the spiritual community, but at the end of the day, it's like a rabbit hole where it just like seems to reinforce, and you're like, yeah, that psychedelics are like, uh, you just come to that like psychedelic 'cause that they are. It's to be honest, it must be hard for you to explain it. It's quite weird.
Yeah.
That they definitely get put on like a pedestal, and it's like for someone who hasn't done it, the actual experience, because the insights that are in there and what's like possible on like 5 grams. Because I know I'm saying this like partly why they have a cult like following, and this is why I'm saying I kind of just like went along with it. It's like everyone's like, oh, psychedelics where it's at, and I'm not just saying this as like bare conscious rappers all rap about it. It's not just Traumatic. And then you look
Why
into
would you? Why
Yeah,
is
go
it
on.
like a cult? Would you
um
say?
well, I'm not even saying like it necessarily has to be, but it's like I
Okay.
stumbled in through Traumatic into this, and the reason I was saying it originally, I don't mean to just bring it up, is you were like, why did I take mushrooms originally? And yeah, like
Oh
you
yeah.
said, it's like I feel like it was definitely through like the internet, because I don't know where I would have got the idea that mushrooms were like, I don't know if I would have realized, but like the it basically rationalizes like what you're doing and why to do it, and people talk about their profound, and if it wasn't for the information rabbit holes, like I don't know if my intuition would have took me to fucking magic mushrooms. I don't know, but they've been so fundamental to my evolution and who I am now that that's why people big them up, because they're not, and I'm not just saying this, like I say, if you take like 5 grams in silent darkness, it like you don't have to believe it, you don't have to, it's just like literally so alien, so, and it's like guaranteed that it will like fucking blow your mind. So that's why people kind of big them up, because it's literally like a new dimension, especially when you get to like
What's
DMT
the
and stuff.
Yeah, what's the difference between taking it like in a room in a dark and like outside? Like, why is that like different?
Well, for example,
Is it because your thoughts are just left alone without any like thing to look at?
yeah, definitely, yeah, I mean it's quite
Okay.
intuitional. Yeah, it's like you're not engaged. For example, that 7 gram bad trip I was on about a second ago, that was in silent darkness, but there's multiple 7 gram live streams on my channel where I'm literally just talking like I am now, up on 7 grams of mushrooms to the
Yeah.
camera.
Now I can't imagine me as a new person taking 7 grams and just speaking normally to another
Nah,
person.
it wouldn't happen. That's why I'm saying like I've like I feel like I've mastered them somewhat, which is the only reason why I feel like this is valid to do. But yeah, it really goes to show like if you're occupied with something, it's not so introspective. And Terence McKenna has a quote. He's like, "I don't like going outside. All sorts of weird things will happen. Motorcycle gangs will pull up. Grizzly bears will attack." And it's like it does kind of feel like that. Bare weird shit happens outside. It's really weird. Like you want to control the environment as much as you don't want like your friend's like sister coming round in half an hour or some weird shit. You literally need to be in like a fucking padded room for infinite time and just don't have no weird cunt around. Set and setting, is it? Have you heard of set and setting?
No. What's that?
Okay, this is very... So, probably if you haven't heard of set and setting, yeah, you probably haven't done an awful lot of research, do you agree?
Let me just say overall. Set... What is it called?
Set and setting. See what it says. I'll have a look as well. Set and
settings are factors that can condition the effects of psychoactive substances. So basically it depends what setting you're in.
100%. So reality becomes like amplified. So alright, so I'm gonna get my fucking head screwed on, yeah. You wanna fucking know what psychedelics are about. Let me literally try my best. Alright. So set and setting is important, right? Because another thing that Terence says, I reference Terence a lot in these videos because he's like, are you familiar with Terence McKenna?
No.
Oh, I recommend
Maybe if I see his face.
Right, we're gonna go deep. You might not, to be fair. He's just like one of the fucking psychedelic kings. There's few, but yeah, Terence McKenna's very cool. I'll get him up on it. Terence McKenna. But anyway, I'm gonna literally try and educate you. So how can I make sure, yeah, that you don't have a fucking awful time? I gotta try my best. This is my job. Right, so the set and setting, basically, they're very introspective, yeah, so especially if you take them in silent darkness, yeah, like a committed dose and you lay down in silent darkness, or me personally, I like to sit up a little bit, because I don't like laying down just after I've eaten, but that's just because I suppose you're not meant to, and little conditions like this influence it. It's like every little factor gets like amplified a lot, and it basically, psychedelic experiences are somewhat complexity. Like the world becomes so abstract, like you've never seen it before, and it's like, how did I never like see it? Because it is so like mind-blowing, like the world and shit a lot of the time, and just like there's a huge emphasis on like existential nature for a lot of people. I don't know if that's how you go into it. It depends who you are and what environment, but they complexity is a big factor. You can often get like impossible experiences, because have you seen the brain scans maybe for magic mushrooms?
No.
Okay,
One question I have as well is like,
yeah, go on.
you know, like, yeah, mushrooms can enlighten you as well. Do you think there's any delusions involved as well?
Yeah, so that's what. So you can't. They can't. It really depends. They can definitely make you delusional.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I'm not doubting that, to be honest. Like, but I think it's very nuanced. So it's like it's hard to say. Like, I think they can trigger, like, what we define as delusion, like an actual hallucination on the trip. I don't know, like that's kind of seemingly what it's meant to do, but like is a hallucination a delusion?
But I mean,
I
like,
guess so.
As in like a feeling, like you think you figured something out.
Yeah, I get you.
Just deluded you. Yeah.
Oh, tell you what, I need to get this picture up that's relevant. So hold on, let me get the fucking psilocybin brain scan. I need you. Did you say you have Google up?
Yeah.
Psilocybin brain scan. or do magic mushroom brain scan. Look at, basically it says sober or placebo on the left, and it's like 2 circles. Have you found it?
Sober. Where's sober?
I've found it on the viewers. Hopefully you can find it. So this people, no, just
Is it the after and before?
yeah, it's like
After
2
and before and
circles and like nets, but
Oh yeah, I see it.
yeah, and like one of them's, so there's like one on the left for me that's got like barely any lines,
Yeah,
and then the one on the right's
one
got
has
fucking
many
loads.
lines,
Yeah, so basically what this is the one on the right is like your fully psilocybin brain, and the left is like the placebo or the fucking sober state, basically. And the reason why I said you got to prepare for like an impossible experience that just shits you up potentially, like a lot it has to do with the present moment and like body awareness, and you don't realize how like it bends your consciousness, and mushrooms are very twisted quite a lot. For example, this is just one random nuance that I feel like I should share, because I remembered the other day, is if I ever look out the window at like a car outside and there's like a pillow in there, or if I see like some cushions on the sofa, when I'm on mushrooms, a lot of the time I immediately see, or like I think that it's like something really bad, like a fucking dead person or something. It's like I don't mean to do that, I don't want to do it. It's like I see like a bag outside and it's instantly like a dead body, but it isn't. It's like I think it is, and I'm like, no, it's just a bag. It's it depends, but that's like probably.
Does it shock you up like?
It definitely can, but that's just one weird visual thing. Like you get loads of stuff like that. Like I had on LSD, there was some cars in a distance behind loads of trees, like a road behind a row of trees, and all the cars behind it had police car stickers like over it, like because it was dark and they were far away. Like I could see the police like yellow and blue and shit, and on every car and it was like it was fucking weird.
Yeah, that's mad.
I don't.
By the way, with like
Yeah.
I think it's called H something, like it's like permanent visuals after taking a lot of
Hallucinogenic
psychedelics.
persistent perception disorder, HPPD, I think.
Yeah, with that, is it just visuals that you get permanently, or is it like a feeling as well from the psychedelics?
Yeah, so who did I do? Well, I done an interview with Dylan in the same nature as this one, and like obviously the trip does end and you do come back, even though you can feel like you're not going to. It's like you see something and now you can't unsee it or some shit. But the insight often is like, there's often insights. They definitely often change your life. The second time I'd done acid, which was like 2 times in 1 week, it was when I was like probably 15. It was my first psychedelic experience, and I did test them. Oh wait, no, I didn't actually. I didn't even test them, so I can't say it's acid. That's important. You need to test them always. Really, I didn't
Apparently,
test them
if
once.
they're fake, your tongue goes numb.
Well, I have like a fake LSD trip on my fucking YouTube channel, and it's all edited, like chopped up. It took ages. It's not very. It's like, but I took 2 tabs of LSD that I didn't test, and it fucked me up. I was talking to someone earlier about it actually, because they said they did as well. But it's like it made my breathing really like heavy, and my stomach was like all tense, and like I kept like going in like weird dreamy fucking states, and it was really fucking. It was hard. It made me throw up as well, like, and it felt fucking like toxic as fuck. So be careful of fake acid.
What the fuck do they put in there?
You need to fucking test if you're gonna do acid, definitely. But
like we were talking about doses. What would you recommend for a first timer to do, like in doses?
So yeah, I was saying, so again with the warnings, so they are definitely like in the high doses. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll try to get a fucking graph up, and it's not like actually super accurate, but I'll get it up, and if you search it, maybe you can find it as well, but you don't have to. It's what is it?
I heard that people starting out should do like 0.5 to 1. but I don't know if this is a bad mindset, but I just want to go straight for two.
To be fair, like I went straight for a 3.5, and it was the best experience of my life. Like it was fucking
Um,
my. I literally what was my first trip, man? Yeah, my first trip. That was like 2 years ago now. I took a 3.5. I was smoking weed as well, and I was out with some people, and I was putting headphones on, and then at one point I was like, I'm gonna go back. I sat in the garden, yeah, and the visual. I don't get too many visuals now. The visuals make it look more real than it actually is. Like it looks sharper and like more like, but it looks the same. But when my first time I tripped, I literally watched my fucking garden fence like literally mount into fucking wax, bro, like full blast, and like to see your fence literally turn into fucking molten wax, like literally in front of you. Like I couldn't see behind it, but like the whole thing just completely fucking drooped and mounted, and it was fucking the first time you see that. Like have you ever seen anything like that,
no.
bro? Trust me,
I'd
but it's
probably
not
go
even
crazy. I'd
about
be
the
like, why is my
visuals.
fence melting?
Sorry.
I'd probably be like, why the fuck's my fence melting?
Just I looked in after the first trip, or after the fence mount. I looked in the mirror and I looked at my face, and it was like completely symmetrical, and everything was like vibrating. I just said no fucking way. I had a huge grin on my face. It was the best. But I was saying, oh yeah, sorry. So we were saying I didn't test the fucking acid or some shit. But so the first time I done it, I said you were saying like, what do they do? We were saying I was gonna say that they change your life, because the second time I done it, I was literally like never the same again. I swear down.
Yeah.
Like but it was like a positive
In
thing.
what sense? Like in like
The world just
mental?
felt, yeah. Sorry, yeah. In what sense?
Was it like? How did you see life after that?
So like the second, like I walked away like vibrant,
Mm.
from the location I took it at, and the world was like fresh, and
Yeah.
simple things become no longer simple a lot of the time, like even after.
Would you say that everything's more like interesting?
Yeah, 100%. Like the life becomes, it definitely can become a lot more magic, a lot more like.
Do you feel more productive after taking shrooms?
Yeah, so in terms of like, it depends how you define it somewhat. Like me now, I was actually talking to like my best mate like the other day, uh, after I'd done an interview with Mr. Nature that hasn't come out yet,
Yeah.
another one. And he was like, I'm not the same as who I used to be like at all, and he was like, it's mad how you've grown. I was like, yeah. And I was just thinking, I was like, that's just the mushrooms, man. It's like, I swear down, they literally, if you do them like a lot and then pursue the spiritual path, and maybe it was just growth in general, but like I am not like barely 1% of who I was, and I definitely. So you said like, does it make me more productive? It depends. Like I feel like my evolution of myself is like spun off and like got a lot bigger picture, and I'm definitely happier with my vision and my place in existence,
Yeah.
I think. But in terms of like work, it depends. Like I've never been this productive ever. I've never put this much work into something. I've had like
Mm.
big YouTube channels, but what I've done now on my main channel, like I've never put that much fucking work into nothing, and I've put a
Yeah.
lot of time into it.
I respect that. I heard a lot of stories about people taking shrooms as well, and they're like, at the end of the trip, they're like, "Oh, I'm wasting my time here, and I need to do something." That's why I asked about like, production.
What do you mean,
Hello.
like?
Oh,
What do you mean, like the fucking?
like they feel more productive because at the end of taking shrooms, they think like, "Oh, what am I doing with my life? I need to do something." Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, to be honest, because that was my very first mushroom experience. It was like the wage slave awakening, and like before that, in short, like I was satisfied. Yeah, everyone told me the whole life, oh, you just have to go to your wage slave job, and that's just the way it is. And I was
mm,
like, yeah, all right, whatever, I'll accept it. You just got to accept it. Everyone says, and then like, I took I was completely fine with it. Even after some psychedelic experiences, I just kept going to work, and I was like, "Yep, this is my life." And then one day I took them, and I was like, I'm literally trapped. I'm a fucking slave in some madness, and I got a fucking. And before then, I was just like, yeah, I'll go to my 9 to 5, and like not actually barely like I thought I was just gonna, the normal path that most people take.
Yeah.
The mushrooms made me switch up full blast, and I was like, I gotta be someone, I gotta do something. So in that sense, I think, yeah, it starts with your personality shifting. Like, I'm definitely more productive because I used to just sit in a chair, watch YouTube, and just eat fucking junk food, and then go take pills with like stupid people when I was younger. And then I found mushrooms, aka spirituality, because they definitely have the capability to induce like awakenings and enlightenment. Certainly, I think they can. I've definitely.
Are you open with like on your YouTube with like the drugs that you've taken?
Yeah. So I have no reason
just
to hide it.
like but not obviously psychedelics like other drugs.
Yeah. So it's nothing that I ever touched now. Like I say, especially when I found like traumatic and that, they always preaching like stay away from the man-made drugs, and it just clicks on my intuition. I'm like, yeah, those things are fucked. So. Like, I haven't made a full blast video about it. I do have like a video, it's like a half-an-hour video. I talk about like my early depression in my early teens, and the pills that that was the first hard drug I'd done, like MDMA pills supposedly, but no one ever tested it, and they fucked my mind up full. Like, to go from like a normal person, someone who hasn't really. Have you ever had like much drug experience at all, or are you just?
I've had MDMA
Yeah.
first time like 3-4 weeks ago.
How was it profound?
How was it? It was it was amazing.
I know. So
It was like literally the best feeling of my life, like the best
I
feeling.
know,
I've
yeah.
never felt something like it. Like
it's crazy, isn't it? That's what Sneeko said. That he
like
feels.
Sneeko taking it.
Sneeko has taken LSD. He even said he had a video up before he got fucking deleted that
Yeah.
that LSD saved his life because he was feeling like shit, wasting his life. And you were actually, this is cool because you said, do they make you more productive? And
Yeah,
Sneeko wasn't making videos, and then he took LSD, and it was like, make videos, you loser. And then he was like, oh fuck, I better make some videos. And then he made videos. So they definitely induce insight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think I've seen Sneaker's video on that. It's quite a while ago though.
Yeah. And then loads of people have tried them, like loads of just even personal development channels, and there's a massive resurgence, definitely, and it's super cool.
What pushes me more to mushrooms? Obviously, you said that I should do mushrooms first. What pushes me more into it is because my friend's mates took LSD, and one of them just panicked, and like just I don't know. He's never like researched on it, so he was just like scared, and kept on panicking, and all the other people that took it was like in a bad trip as well because he was panicking.
Well, so
Like he was looking at the window, it was open, but he was nowhere near it, and he thought he was gonna fall out.
that's jokes. But you see, a lot of the time, like I say, like you need to be kept right. So when it comes to psychedelics, yeah, it really depends on what you're doing them for. Definitely, a lot of people say set an intention. I rarely done that. It normally shows you shit anyway.
I don't really know what to think of when I try and set my own intention. I kind of just like want to do it and just ride the flow, like.
So I definitely would say that, like, I again, I was even talking to someone earlier about it. So I use them in a context, and they said they took LSD and had like a really bad trip. But like, and you can do, but like you say, I imagine the way you're approaching it is like you're using them from a stance of like personal development, because these are tools for self-discovery and insights about anything really, your life, reality, your family. And ancient cultures have been using these since the fucking beginning of time, and the benefits that I often, when I get into that state, I'm like, this is beyond money. Like, it's the beauty you can see is one of the just inherent values. Like, one of the most profound trips even to date is when I just took LSD in nature, like 3 tabs, and I was walking around. There's a trip report on my channel, I'll link it, and it's like, I'm just stunned. The beauty is like, it's especially in nature, but it depends.
Yeah, that's one thing why I want to take it and gravitate towards it, because obviously, like, it's crazy how you can just take this thing that, like, warps your view and everything. It's mad.
Yeah, visually and just in general. So what's some of the general phenomena? Like, I don't know. I'll let you ask. Do you have any particular question?
So how do you think it fully changes you as a person, like completely? Like, do you think it's was it an ego death? Did you humble more?
I think, no, I don't know. The thing that humbled me most in my life, I found, is like if I get like super depressed, because I just stop thinking I'm like God. So I'm like, I stop like having the kind of attitude I do a bit. But
What do you mean you stop thinking you're God? Is it like because some people say they take shrooms and feel like everyone's connected and everyone's a part of God.
well, it's more of like the kind of the whole baggage that comes with it. Because if you get like really deep into it, it's like when you literally have like life-changing insights consistently in some like sacred realm, and you go there like once a week or like twice a week, I don't know. I mean, sorry, not twice a week. I mean, I have done that before, not these days.
Oh yeah, that's another question. Like, how regularly do you think someone should like trip for a safe trip? Like, well, for a safe like mental health.
It honestly depends. Actualize.org says if you abuse these substances, like your life will go upside down, and I can't help but to like somewhat agree. I definitely had that at one point. Like,
Yeah.
You do really play with psychological fire in many ways, and they can be very twisted. You were on about HPPD, yeah, we forgot about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I have had it to an extent. Like, everything looks more abstract. My friend who was on about earlier, he said that his visual field was like recontextualized, and I've had that before. It's like it looks just way like you'd never seen it before, and like trees blowing in the wind looks weird. And I used to get these, like, I used to be a bin man, and there's like these lifters on the back of the lorry, and when they used to lift up, I used to see like static shooting out the side of them. It was like but that was like the only one I got. Like, there was like a fucking like invisible line that seemed to like warp space, like loads of them on top of each other. It was like, I don't know, it's like coming off the lifters, but it was like not physical. I don't know what the fuck it was, but no one else could see it. That's the only, I haven't had like any like full blast HPPD, but
yeah
it definitely like,
I heard HPPD like stories that like people can see stuff tracing at the back of it when like it moves and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I know that's like actual. I don't know, because a lot of people have like full blast. Like I looked into a lot of stories of this, and like a lot of people. This one girl like can't sleep barely because it's just like infinite geometry and shit all the time and closed eyelids. And
Infinite geometry, like just infinite DMT in her brain.
Yeah, like it just like pisses her off, and then she like
Have you
couldn't
ever tried
drive
DMT?
anymore. I've never done DMT, no.
Would you like to?
I would definitely do it, yeah.
Yeah. That scares me as well. I think that's one thing I'm not touching.
Well, yeah, fair enough, but
it's
see,
probably because like I haven't really dove into like psychedelics yet. Maybe like in the future.
I didn't feel ready either, to be fair, at
Yeah.
one point.
I mean, I haven't taken shrooms like, and I think that I'm not gonna take DMT after not taking shrooms. Basically.
Yeah, fair enough. It took me a while to fucking get prepared. I feel ready now, definitely. But it's like I say, there's like an initial hump that you have to sort of go through. They're really difficult. Like, people think they know, and even people who've tried them. For example, one of my friends took them, and like he only had one trip beforehand, and he was like, yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to take 4.2 grams. And I was like, he had only had one trip, and it was a good one. And I'd
4.2
been
grams of what?
of Liberty Cap psilocybin mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
How strong are Liberty caps?
I think
Like,
they're
compared to
stronger than
all the-
most.
Oh okay.
But my friend, like, I kind of prophesized what was going to happen because I'd seen it happen before. It's like people take them, and they when you're not ready, an often reaction, like to most people who take them somewhat on a whim in like a not good setting who aren't really tactical about, like, you don't have to stress about it, but it's like, just don't be stupid with them. They are literally, some argue, like I had a psychedelic actualization on the interview. We were both agreeing that psychedelics are probably like literally the most powerful thing in the fucking universe. Like it's like you literally, that shit that's in there, bro. It's like so powerful. That shit will
Is
like.
salvia part of like psychedelics? Salvia.
Yeah, so there's like the core psychedelics, yeah, which is basically psilocybin mushrooms, DMT, probably 5-MeO DMT, but then like it depends because so DMT is from a plant, mushroom is a fungus, 5-MeO DMT is toad venom, but LSD, well, to be fair, it's from mold from like bread, but it's like, I'm pretty sure the way that it's about, like it's always like synthesized, which makes it like a semi-synthetic, and then salvia is like, well, it is a plant, but there's some that are just deemed not core psychedelics, like
Yeah.
salvia for some reason. It's
I've
mainly
heard some horror
DMT and
stories on
mushrooms.
salvia. Did you see the Joe Rogan podcast when the guy said that he had the whole life for 6 months in his head, but it was actually for 10 minutes?
Oh my god, I'm gonna watch that. That sounds
That
mad.
is, it's like he had a whole like underwater experience. Like he went to school there, he had work there, he had children with with a woman, he was
Jesus.
married, and then he just came back like into like his human world. Like, imagine going through that. You'd be like, is my human world or like the underwater world real?
Yeah, that's why like I often like, it's when you wake up from a dream, yeah, and it's like you have to come back and go, alright, so that didn't happen. This isn't going down.
But this one is 6 months in his head. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's fucking. It's like I say, yeah, it's like the most powerful shit about, really. That shit will fucking.
It's really scary, especially the way that people react on it when you see videos on like salvia.
Salvia is like known somewhat to induce like pure fucking delusion. Like you, like what you said, it's like there's reports of people like incarnating into inanimate objects, and that's quite common. And it seems to like you literally, it's quite common to imagine like an incarnation into like another dimension. That seems to be, with my experience researching salvia, that's somewhat common. It's like proper delusional, weird.
I've never heard like a good story from it. It's always just like scary horror stories, and every video they just wake up and be like, "Don't do it."
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, please don't do it.
I would try it probably in the right setting. It depends. It would
I don't
definitely.
even think there's a right setting for it. Like, literally, there's no setting. Like, apparently, like some people like don't hear anything, can't see the whole room. It's just literally in their head. That's
Yeah,
their
I fully
setting, just in their head.
definitely could fucking. That. But like, I mean, what I mean is that like before I smoke it, I'm like, make sure that I'm gonna have like that I probably would. I don't do trip sitting at all. Like,
Yeah.
but if I was gonna smoke salvia,
Oh, you definitely need a trip set for
that's
salvia.
what I'm saying,
Like,
man. Because I'll be bouncing off the walls and shit. Like, you
people,
gotta be
like,
careful. Mushrooms, I feel like I
there's
got.
one that like was in his room and jumped out the window like on salvia. I've seen one.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
those things are so twisted. Like, you'll forget that you even took a drug. That's how powerful it is. Like, no wonder. It's literally like you think you got it down, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's literally gonna shoot up there in your brain and start fucking with the hardware, and then like you don't know what the fuck will happen. It's that
You'll
powerful.
literally like you'll think you're prepared, but like you forget that you think you're prepared in that moment.
Well, it take you. It just so powerful. It take you under. But it's like even when you think you're prepared for mushrooms, yeah, like you can't. They're powerful tools. You got to go into it, yeah, like be committed. One of the main things people just regret taking it, and that just sets it up terribly. You want to
No,
make
I
sure
know,
you don't have work tomorrow and there's no one going to come round and you're sound.
Yeah. Defo like I feel like the advice that you gave me is perfect. Just let go of everything.
Yeah.
Like just
'Cause
go with it. Just let go.
main reason why people suffer a lot, like I say, I realise one of my main
Try and
insights
control.
recently is just you're trying to control everything, and when you let go, you kind of stop going against the grain, start flowing with the river. This liberation and stop trying to control shit, and that's one of the main things. Like psychedelics will often like they're very emotionally difficult a lot of the time. Like bad trips for me are like pretty common, but but that's because there's shit in there. Like they're not bad trips, yeah. Like the terror trip, that's different. A terror trip is like when you literally like decide you're gonna kill yourself and the whole thing's over and there's no point in anything or some mad shit like that. But a bad trip or a challenging trip, not a terror trip, is when you like you can confront like uncomfortable truths and they're not like it's often quite
Make it better,
uncomfortable physically, but like there's a lot of what I was going to say earlier when I was quoting Terence McKenna like at the beginning is the subconscious mind. Like you see the brain scans, right? It's like they literally reveal the subconscious mind. The word psychedelic in Greek actually is like mind reveal or mind manifest. I swear down, that's what it means.
Yeah, mad.
And it literally like all of like the random neuroses and like problems in your subconscious, like about your family or some shit that's going down or like some like trauma or like emotional blockage shit. You take it, yeah, a powerful dose, and it like brings all of this like subconscious mind chatter to the surface, and it's like you see it as if you're like walking through your fucking mind, as if you're literally fucking, you know, the movie Inside Out, the fucking animation.
Inside Out.
Yeah, it's like some stupid. It's like I don't know. It's
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same, but they're
I
literally
haven't seen
walking.
it, but I've seen it.
Those who are aware, like I swear, Inside Out is basically like it's like a psychology film where it's like what is going on inside her head. Have you seen that meme?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
And then in there's like a hallway of all of our memories, and there's like shit. And I mean that's not the best like analogy, but in the psychedelic experience is like your mind and your subconscious and your neuroses and all your like tics, and it's like all under a microscope. It's so like introspective and profound. It's to take it in silent darkness. Like for me, the visuals to me are nothing. I barely get visuals. Like I mean I do get visuals, no doubt, but it's not like I do see geometry a lot, like with closed eyes, but it's not like rainbows. It's like everything looks earthy and geometric and like sacred, but I barely get no colours or mountain anymore. The world just looks like pure intelligence, and it's much more of a mental thing, and the visuals really have become not it's definitely cool to have cool visuals, especially in nature and walking around. They're definitely
Yeah.
still profound, but it's much
Would you
more
say
about
that
the
life's
insights.
better after taking psychedelics as well?
It's a long journey. If you're gonna get into them for like spiritual development, trust me, I'm pretty sure it's very, no trip is boring. Is life better? Definitely. I think you see life with much more depth after being to like impossible realms. And that's just in my experience. Like it's like you.
Does it stick with you, or do you like forget some stuff?
It's like sometimes you come back and you find it hard to remember because it was just so like alien. Like some people come back from DMT and they literally have no memory of what happened and shit. And like,
Yeah.
but it's like I have strategies. Like I often record voice notes and reflect on them while I'm sober, or like write shit down, or I often like I don't just do silent darkness. Like there's a lot of really cool things. Like for example, if you watch like a music video with speakers on an amazing TV with like high quality speakers, yeah, the music video is literally like infinitely better. It's fucking it's hard to talk about it. It's so
Yeah.
cool, but that's not
It's
where
like
the cool
weed
shit is.
times 10. Like when you smoke weed, like a movie's better, but like on psychedelics is good.
It's
Like, way
literally
better.
on psychedelics. It's literally like fractal. Like you know what a fractal is?
Nah.
It's like
Educate me.
Do you still have Google?
Mm-hmm.
Search fractal. Fractal.
According to Wikipedia, in mathematics, a
Oh, yeah,
fractal is
I
a
see it.
geometric shape containing
You're making
detailed
me feel
structure at
dumb, all these
arbitrarily
words.
small scales, usually having a fractal dimension strictly exceeding the topological dimension.
Fractal. What is it? These visuals?
It's these shapes that repeat. Do you see?
Yeah.
I'm just showing the viewers. So a fractal is basically a shape that is made up of itself. So they go down for and you see that within. So there's also sacred geometry, which is like the flower of life and like these patterns that are quite common. I often find one thing, yeah, is that your actual like. So no trip is ever the same. They evolve over time as you get better with them and your life changes, because it's all about set and setting. But if you get programmed with like a belief or an expectation, I've found it to become manifest. Like if I watch a video and someone explains like an awakening, it's like the awakening seems to be much more likely to occur. But at the same time, it's so unpredictable. Like you can't. But I've definitely seemed to have that. Like I learn about something, and then like fucking 4 months later, it like I get it, and it's like there is certain experiences you can have, like non-duality, where there's like everything becomes like one.
What do you mean by awakening? Like finding something out?
Yeah, it's like
Like waking up to reality?
yeah, like there's many. Even like the first one I was on about, it's just like, oh, you realize you're a wage slave. Mushrooms are very much like this though, because there's like so that to be fair, the wage slave one wasn't really. That's like it is an awakening. Like you realize something massive, but in terms of like actual awakening, because there's another aspect to it, and that's much more in like the Buddhist sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like for example, I had one not long ago. Like it's just things like I was having loads of insights, and I was like, okay, going through them, and I was like, I'm just thinking like, what else is gonna happen? And then I was like, and then I realized like, think or don't think, and then like you can. And that point, not like normally it's difficult, but I literally just stopped thinking, and it was like, and it's stuff like that, so the insights are super radical, but like there's somewhat like objective like awakenings that are like mainly spiritual. Like there's non-duality, which feels like an awakening. It's like where all the boundaries, like your mind just becomes incapable of forming any concepts or distinctions, and everything kind of melts into like one like blinding truth that's just like the present moment. And like that's one of the main things with awakening, if I want to call it awakening. It's like often if you're not familiar with the present moment, it will just sit you on your ass. Like you're literally just sat in stillness, and like and everything can feel so weird, and that's when people can get scared. So it awakens you to like present moment, and then that can be perceived as truth. But there's many other aspects that they just induce like deep understanding and progressed realizations about yourself, the nature of reality, your family, your situation, or they feel that way.
Why do you think it's good for like depression and like people with anxiety? Is it because they see like that they're dumb for thinking certain stuff, and like they see how life is now?
They can definitely like, so for example, they're being used now for death anxiety.
Okay.
So like cancer patients, this is like actual like formal in the West and stuff. They're giving
I heard
them.
Mike Tyson on a podcast say that like he did so much psychedelics that he's okay with death as well. So that does make sense, yeah.
Yeah, literally, it's like they basically, the way I put it is psychedelics will zoom you out in the introspective manner, where like you basically see your life from a bird's eye view. That's very common. Even in a literal sense, like you become the observer and you stop identifying with like your identity. That's like the no self weird thing, but that gets deep. But it's just like you're always doing something, yeah. You're always like watching a video, you're always going to university, you're always making something to eat. But when you meditate and when you take psychedelics, it's like it pauses everything, and you literally zoom out and you swim through your mind, and your mind is always chatting shit, and it's got many subconscious like behavior patterns, and that's psychedelics break behavior patterns, and they dissolve conditioning.
So it almost like replaces like your brain back together.
So the way that what's he fucking called? I always forget this guy's name. He's bald and he's on Joe Rogan, and he's a scientist about psychedelics, and he's done DMT. Michael Pollan says that your brain is like a snow globe, and psychedelics shake the snow globe, and the snow settles in a different pattern and a different like fucking structure. So it like shakes up like your neuroplasticity, and it literally gives you like it literally forms like the graph that we showed that they literally form new neural connections.
So it basically just reconstructs your brain, like, in a better way.
Yeah, like even physically, yeah. It's like it's like I say, it's intense and it's complex, and very often it doesn't necessarily have to be, but that's very often that is the case, and it's very unexpected. It will not be boring, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did you get that on your first trip, or
What's that?
like a reconstruction of your brain? Do you get it every trip, or?
Well, it's like you don't like feel it necessarily, like, but that's like it literally has been proven to cause neurogenesis. So your brain like literally like grows new neural connections, and it's more hyperconnected. So like my brain is likely in a vastly different structure to most, and like I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. A lot of people would like to say so, and I'd probably, I don't know, but that's probably likely the case because they do literally grow your brain and evolve its like physical structure when you dose them, and that's why they're being used for like brain like health lost in like drug abuse and prescriptions. They seem to like grow it all back and shit if you've like fucked your brain.
Wait, it recovers your brain? What?
Yeah, and it's like being used for like dementia and shit. But the thing is, yeah, the reason why you can't research it is because it's illegal. So that's why it's all coming out now, full blast. Because there's literally like a psychedelic renaissance happening now.
Damn, don't know that.
Yeah, full blast. It literally like grows new connections and shit. So it's likely like your very fundamental nature perceiving the world can definitely change forever. And it's a long road, and it but overall it's like it's such a gift. It's such a cool. I found so many benefits. It just adds layers, and I find it makes you more intelligent. Probably my articulation got so much fucking better after psychedelics, and it used to be so poor. I'm pretty sure they're pretty responsible, and it teaches you many things. I realize it's actually somewhat hard to communicate like the nature of a psychedelic experience. Like the last one I done was like, this one was alright, like I still answered them, but it's like I come to realize it's so unexpected. Like you literally just gotta do it. I'm not telling you to do it because of YouTube's terms of service or whatever, but
Yeah,
it's
of course
like
I would never.
yeah,
I would never do
and
that.
I wouldn't do them either. I mean, they are illegal for a reason after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I don't know how much I can say. Like they're just half the universe. They're bigger than anything you've ever seen. It's like a siren that you hear and feel. It literally like mushrooms especially. They take you on like a journey. Mushrooms like DMT just shocks you into the center of the universe, but mushrooms like take you by the hand and they like you literally travel and like swim through your mind, and it's like fucking that's how it normally goes for me in Silent Darkness. But the first few trips might be a bit strange.
Yeah. How much LSD have you done?
I've only done like 3-4 trips. I did combine I took like 4 grams of mushrooms and 2 tabs of LSD.
Jesus.
I haven't actually released the trip report yet. It's still on my desktop. Oh yeah, Dan can edit that one.
Was it a good one?
It was weird. It wasn't very introspective. Like I didn't like fucking meet God or anything like that. I just
do
fucking.
people usually mix LSD with shrooms?
It's probably not wise. Like I don't want to advocate it, to be honest. Like it wasn't. It was quite weird. Like that was the first time I ever saw the letters actually. So it's quite common now. I was meditating in front of my set of drawers on 2 tabs of acid and 4 grams of LSD of. 4 grams of mushrooms even, and my set of drawers literally like, you know how the Ouija board is like the alphabet but it's like a bridge, like it's kind of like curved. My whole set of drawers just spawned like big letters, and the whole thing was covered in the alphabet, and it kind of looked like the Ouija. And then ever since then I get that all the time. Like I look at a tree and it's covered in letters and numbers, and they look so like swirly and divine, and it's like shit like that. It's like I get intelligent hallucinations. I don't just see a rainbow. Like I just see like fractals and infinity, and that's why it's so like enchanting, because it's like it just blows a hole in your mind. You're like, no, the beauty is undeniable so often.
Well, what do you like more, shrooms or LSD?
I need to experiment with LSD more. Mushrooms,
Okay.
I've like done so much, and at one point I did get sick of them. Mushrooms, I think they're the best for beginners, definitely, if you're gonna do them, because
Do you think it's more
LSD.
intense or LSD?
It's really hard to say, honestly. There's so many variables, and I haven't done too much LSD. So, but I've handled LSD very well every time. I've never had a bad trip, and it's actually to be honest, LSD, I've never had an uncomfortable trip. They've always been just pure euphoria, actually. Psilocybin, though, very challenging eventually. Like, so a lot of people say that they're actually, they're, like, amazing to newcomers, but they're unforgiving to veterans. And the more you do them, like, they challenge you eventually. But the first few trips, very commonly, are always, like, so wholesome and so euphoric. But eventually, like...
What, with LSD?
With mushrooms,
with
but
mushrooms,
I think
yeah,
with
that makes sense,
psychedelics
yeah.
in general, actually, it's like the first few times you do them, it's often just like pure light, and then eventually further down the line, often they reveal like more layers. There's more layers. Like you become like a master of them. Like it's literally like a realm that you can learn like tricks with. Like singing and breathing progresses the experience, like regulating your body. That's one of the awakenings somewhat, or the insights I had. Is like your breath, you're always in like a state of being, and it's very dependent on your flow of breath and shit like that. But it's just what was the yeah, you learn like techniques and shit, and it's like a whole massive field, man. And it's really like psychedelics often you just to confront infinity. That's one of the best ways I can put it, and it happens very often for many people.
Yeah, I had a mate that took LSD for the first time, and it was a bad trip, and like he told me that mushrooms is like LSD but without the bullshit.
Probably.
Yeah.
That sound. Oi, I'm literally gonna have to go, I think, because I probably should be in bed soon because I got
Oh yeah, that's fine.
workerino. But I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me on.
No prob. I hope somewhat you I hope I could have
I'll gain some
helped
knowledge, yeah.
someone. Just in case, like, I think mainly it's about just like you need to educate yourself. That's like one of my main tips. Just
I'll
literally
definitely do a lot of research. I mean, I've already done a bit of research, but
yeah, but I mean because you didn't know what setting and stuff is. It's like I mean you can go into it.
I knew that you have to be in a certain setting, like be around people that you know and trust, and you know. Obviously, I want to do it with my best mate.
Yeah.
For him to trip sit me, so. And I don't really feel comfortable just doing it in my room, like alone.
Fair enough.
I feel like it will be better, like just going outside and like going to a place that I'm really familiar with, like which is the park.
Yeah, well, it can definitely be. I would recommend a room, but it's however you feel. Like tripping outside, if the psychedelic gets you in that, like, because you're a beginner, because sometimes it can like. They're so strong. Like you wouldn't want to take them with like people who you're not like super close with and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You want to be but if you're like under super care with like good friends, then it would be alright probably. But obviously like I don't know. I think it would be good outside somewhat, but I can't advocate anything. It's it depends really. It's quite nuanced, but
Yeah.
outside can be just as introspective sometimes, to be honest.
I'll think about it, yeah.
Well, I hope I somewhat answered some questions. So there you go. Instead of just talking about it on there, I thought
Definitely.
I feel like a lot of people. The more connections I make, the better. It's so cool because eventually, like, everyone's all on the same. It's so cool. There's so many names, so many people I connect with now, and it's like, it's so positive, and people love the podcasts and things as well. All right, I'll end it.
Right, in a bit, guys.
Thank you very much. Alright. Sound.
In a bit.